off. Alrighty, we're live. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Welcome to DuePoint. My name is Rob van der Bijl. I'm one of the executives here at DuePoint. I'm going to be spending the next, Saturday? The next 60 minutes, 50 to 60 minutes with you. We're going to go over what the business is all about, what the opportunity is all about. Welcome to everyone who's tuned into our live stream around the country. Once I'm finished the presentation, you are then welcome to come speak to me, ask me any questions that you might have. We've got some admin staff here who can do any client service requirements for you. And that's about it. Let's get started. Okay, so as you can see, we're a division of a company called Constantia Insurance Company Limited. Constantia is a registered insurance company in South Africa. We've been around for nearly 70 years, a lot longer than I've been on the planet. Constantia played a fairly formal role in developing the insurance industry in South Africa. That's their branding that they use. This is their building. They're down the road in Randburg, so we don't share offices with them. The FSP number that we operate under is that one that you see over there. That's very important. That's our license to operate in the financial services space. If you noticed in the foyer above the water cooler, we've got all these certificates up on the wall. Those are our Financial Services Board licenses. So we've got a long and short-term insurance license, we've got an investment license, we've got our FSP license, and then we've also put up our accreditation with the direct marketing and the direct selling associations. So go take a look at those. Those are our stamp of credibility. We take credibility very seriously here at DuePoint, and we fully understand that you need to trust the business we're going to be speaking about this morning if you're going to be making any decision. These are the managers and executives here at DuePoint. The three individuals on the far left are all registered chartered accountants, starting with Mr. Benfield. So he's our senior executive here. He heads up this division. He's got a lot of experience in financial services, particularly in insurance, because his family have been involved in insurance for over 50 years. His father is a professor of insurance. His father taught at Wits for 25 years. His father founded Clientele Life. His father founded the IFA. They founded businesses in Europe. They've helped found businesses in Australia. They've had a lot of success in that space. Brendan and his brother Stuart followed in their father's footsteps, and together they went on to found a business down the road called Prime Meridian Direct, or PMD. And we probably know PMD because they advertise on a daily basis, constantly. And they've had a lot of success there too. I think they coming up to about a decade and a half old. They're already the fourth biggest short-term insurer in the country. So we're very lucky to have Brendan heading up this division. Tim and Stacey, they look after the auditing, the financial, the accounting requirements in our business. Tim is very experienced in corporate banking. He was with the First Rand Group for about 15 years. He reported directly to the CEO. Someone's just checking if we're on the live stream. Is the live stream working? There we go. Just double checking. Or you're trying to get XP. Stacey has been working in auditing all her career. She was with Deloitte here as well as overseas in Luxembourg before she came back to South Africa and joined the team here. So those are the boring accountants. Then myself and Jane, we're non-accountants. That counts for something, I think. Jane is actually from the UK. She's very experienced in referral or network marketing. So she's been doing that for a very long time in Britain, in the UK. And her experience is fundamental to us as a business, because even though we're an insurance company, our growth is very much predicated on our ability to work in the network marketing space. And Jane brings this international experience to our team. And then myself, I've been working in advertising for over 20 years. I've ran my own digital agency for 15 of those years. I walked away from that business. I might touch on why I did that. But that's the team. Our mandate as staff of DuePoint is to support everybody that joins us in this endeavor. So if you join DuePoint and decide to collaborate with us, you will know that we will support you in every way we can, because it's in our interest. We can only be profitable as a business if you are being effective and profitable. And so we do everything to support you. All right, so we briefly discuss a couple of the negative aspects of the circumstance that we find ourselves in this country. So you can see already it's going to be negative if we have the word debt up on the screen. I imagine that majority of us in the room are indebted, right? We're in a debt cycle. We look at the economy. The economy has no prospect of helping us anytime soon. We've got fairly high interest rates. We've got very high inflation. We've got extremely high food inflation. And you can feel it at the end of every month, because at the end of every month, you can feel whether you're running out of money or not. And if we look at statistics on a macro level, I can tell you that majority of South Africans are running out of money because your salary hasn't increased with the rate of what cost of living is increasing by every single year. So ask yourself the question. We know what inflation's been. Inflation, the cost of living has been increasing between 5 and 7% for the last 6-7 years, right? Who has got an increase in their salaries every year of 7% for the last 6-7 years? Maybe one or two of us, right? The rest of us, we get told, oh no, the economy's not doing well. Oh no, the industry's not doing well. Oh no, the company's not doing well. We can't give raises. And so what's happened is the net effect has been that our salaries have actually devalued against what the cost of living is. And this problem gets exacerbated because what we try to do is we try to use debt to remedy the situation, right? So for me, I thought debt was just a way of life. You know, you've got credit card debt, you owe money on a house, you owe money on a car, you owe money on everything. I see now one of the big supermarkets is trying to offer credit on food. Imagine buying credit on food on credit, right? The food you ate in 2017, you're still paying for. It's already gone through the toilet system and is in the Val Dam and you're still paying. Right? That is not a good prospect. It is not a good prospect for us. It exacerbates our position because if we've got no prospect of sorting out our debt cycle, what are we going to do? Debt is only going to make our position even worse. And it comes to a head when you get to retirement, because when you get to retirement, you have to ask yourself the question, what have I done in the last 40 to 45 years to secure a dignified retirement? Right? How much money are you currently saving every single month at the moment towards your retirement? Because when you get to retirement, 60, 65, that amount of money that you saved has to allow you to survive for the next 30 years. Right? And unfortunately, the statistics that we get say only 3% of the population gets to retirement financially independent. The rest of us are going to have to go look for jobs again, with the other 10 million people looking for jobs. We're going to have to downgrade our lifestyles to such a degree that we can survive. We become dependent on our children, on our family members to help us. And you just become a burden to another generation, right? And this is why you have generational wealth that goes, or debt that just carries on and carries on and carries on. And what this presentation is about changing the circumstance, changing the prospect that the majority of us have with regards to personal finance. So out of all of this negativity, we as a business saw an opportunity to create a platform that the average South African can engage in. We call it the DuePoint system. It was launched almost to the day, well, to the week, 2 years ago. So we're 2 years old as a division of Constantia, and we have some prospects for the people that join us in this business. Right? So you might be thinking, well, I've come to this presentation in hope of making extra cash, extra money, but money is just a means to an end, right? And the end, for us, we've got a couple of ideas in mind for you. So one, we'd like to see you become debt-free as quickly as possible. We'd like that to be an aspiration of yours, is to get rid of your debt completely so that you have no debt whatsoever. Wouldn't that be awesome? Imagine the day you've got absolutely zero debt. They reckon the average debt in South Africa is just under 300,000 Rand per person. That is frightening, right? Imagine squashing all of that debt. Do you know what it feels like to be debt-free? At the end of the month, you only get 2 SMSs. You know what I'm talking about? 2 SMSs. You get 1 SMS. We all know this because we go through it personally. You get 1 SMS from your employer saying you've just been paid your salary, right? And then what happens after you get that salary from the bank, that SMS from the bank? Then your phone suddenly starts going crazy. Then you get 20 SMSs and you think, oh, there's a family emergency. And you look at your phone, oh, it's just your debit orders. All those companies, they know exactly when your salary is getting put in because they debit order your account minutes afterwards and all the money goes. So now imagine being debt-free. You get 1 SMS from your employer saying your salary's been paid into your account, and you get 1 SMS from DuePoint saying we've paid you a return. And then there's silence. And all that money that you got stays in your account. You own the house that you live in, you own the car you're driving, you pay for your kids' education a year up front. Imagine doing that. You've seen on the application form at the beginning of the year for your kids, there's a checkbox at the bottom that says pay a year in advance. Who clicks on that checkbox? I want you to be one of the parents that click on that checkbox. Pay 1 year in advance. Right? That's what debt-free looks like and feels like. It empowers you towards our second aspiration, and that is to create wealth, because that's really what we want to focus on here. This whole business is geared to creating wealth. But you can only create wealth if you have paid off all your debt. You can't create wealth if you owe other people money, right? And we create wealth through the ownership of assets and investments that appreciate. And then that empowers you towards your third aspiration, and that's just being happier. Because if you're debt-free and you're only creating wealth, you're going to be happier at the end of the month, I hope. Right? Brendan always says, money solves about 95% of your problems. The other 5% you're on your own. You must go to a counselor. Right? Can't solve everything. So those are the three aspirations we have for people in the business. You're going to align yourself to those aspirations. You don't have to. How does this business work? Basically, our guests here this morning, you have the opportunity of joining DuePoint. You contract with us, and once you contract with us, we call you wealth engineers. And as wealth engineers, you only have one task, and that is to build what we call channels of distribution. And I'll show you what a channel of distribution looks like. But through these channels of distribution, which is really just you introducing other people to DuePoint, our online platform will facilitate the sale of products to those people that you introduce to us. And that is how this entire business works. The benefit for you is that you get to create additional income. This is obvious, right? You're not here for the free tea and coffee. You're sure? Things are really bad at home when you've got to drive to Bryanston for free coffee in the Saturday morning, right? So the nature of the income that we produce here is recurring. Now, this is very important. Some people might not realize that there's different types of income that you can earn. So recurring income is sometimes called passive income. I fondly refer to my father's description of it. He said to me when I think I was about 11, 12, he said it's the ability to make money while you're sleeping. Did you know that's even possible? To make money while you're sleeping? To wake up in the morning and you've got more money in your account than yesterday and you didn't do anything last night. It's certainly possible. It's something inherent to insurance companies. Right? One of the businesses that create recurring income are insurance companies. We've got something called a book value. A book value has intrinsic asset value that pays us every single month. Right? You get to partake in that benefit. You get to make money while you're sleeping. This is the ability to rid yourself of time constraint. It's the primary reason why I walked away from my business. Because like most businesses, we are very much constrained by time. If you are an employee, you are very much constrained by time. You have a contract that says you work 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week. For the month, you get paid. Right? To change that number is almost impossible. Even though the Labour Act says you've got to get paid for overtime. Who gets paid for overtime? Right? Very few of us. If you are a service-based company, you're also constrained by time. If you're a hairdresser, you can only cut one person's hair at a time. If you're a plumber, you can only go fix one toilet at a time. It's the same for lawyers, doctors, electricians. We're all in the same boat. But in this business, you get to create recurring income that will pay you next month for this month's work. And perhaps the month after that, and the month after that. You don't have to keep chasing the business, right? Another benefit that allows you to free yourself of time constraint is leverage, power duplication. So we've built the system that allows you to go out and find people to collaborate, to help you building your channel of distribution. When you're successful in that, if you can get 20 other people to duplicate the behavior that you have, the time that you're investing into the business, you've leveraged yourself 20 times. So you're not limited. So for example, let's say you only have an hour to invest in this business a day, right? You're not limited to that hour in your business. You can go out and find 20 other individuals. You can find 2,000 individuals that will collaborate and help you build your channel of distribution. And now you've duplicated yourself by 20 times or 2,000 times. Again, it's leverage. You're freeing yourself of time constraint, right? The business is also flexi time, so you get to enjoy when you want to do the business. So you can design the way this business fits into your life any way you like. You can decide, okay, at DuePoint, I've only got time on Saturday mornings. I'm only going to do it on Saturday mornings. That's fine. You can do it every day. You can do it weekends, just weekdays. It's completely up to you. But keep yourself accountable to the time that you decide to commit to this business. Because I see too many people joining this business, getting excited by the prospects, and then just treating it like a New Year's resolution. Right? How many of us had New Year's resolutions that we've broken already? Who wanted to stop smoking? Who's still smoking? Right? Don't treat it like a New Year's resolution. This is a business opportunity that can give you the prospect of changing your life. We've got to keep committed to this thing. Right? So flexi time might seem like a benefit, but you can't do this business only when you feel like it. No startup capital. So we don't have registration fees in this business. We don't have boxes of product that you have to buy and take home. Right? So there's no capital outlay. We make this business as risk-free as possible. At the same time, there's no qualifications or experience required. Did anyone bring their CVs with them this morning? You didn't bring your CV? right? We're not interested in CVs. We're interested in work ethic here, right? It's one of the things I love about this business is the diverse backgrounds of people that have been successful in this business. We've got people without matric, people with matric, people without degrees, people with degrees, people with no corporate experience, people with corporate experience. Everyone being able to be successful in this business. Right? At the same time, we contract you out of the regulatory obligation in this business. So we work in financial services. If you know anything about financial services, you'll know it's one of the most onerous industries to work in South Africa because of all the regulation that we have to keep abiding by. Right? It is painful. So we got a note in December, just before Christmas. Here's some new regulation we'd like you to abide by. Brendan had to write 6,000 words to show the regulator how we abide by the new regulation. Right? So that was his Christmas present. You don't have to worry about any of that. You can enjoy the benefit of partaking in financial services without the worry of having to abide by the regulation. So build an asset. This is probably the most important benefit for me. This would be the tipping point for me. If I was considering a business like this, this is the biggest benefit. And is that you have legal tender over this channel of distribution that you're building. So that means you have ownership. You own the channel of distribution that you're building. It means you can sell it. It means you can put it into your will. It becomes part of your estate. It will keep paying you beyond retirement. Right? It'll keep paying you even beyond death. So know that the time that you invest into building this channel of distribution, you're building something that you have ownership over. This is the complete antithesis of employment. Right? If your business suddenly does well this month in February, has a good month in February, who gets a bigger salary at the end of the month? Any of us? No. Do you go home and tell your spouse, oh, the business did really well, my dividend check should be a little bigger this quarter? Oh, look, our shares are doing well. This is going to create wealth for my children. No, 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 no. Many of us as employees don't get to partake in the upside of the businesses that we work for, but we are forced to partake in the downside, right? So if the company does badly for the year, then we get told, sorry, we can't give you an increase. Inflation sitting at 5-6%, food inflation sitting at 11%. You get told, sorry, no increases because the industry is doing badly or the economy is doing badly. And if the company does really badly, then we've got to partake in this process called retrenchment. Right? I know all about that. My wife's a labor lawyer for the biggest private employer in the country. She oversees retrenchments, right, in the mining industry. And we know how that goes. But people seem to think, oh no, it's just the miners that get retrenched. My wife has retrenched people that work next to her at head office. Other doctors, geologists, accountants, lawyers, engineers. No one is free from risk, right, when the retrenchment process comes up. So we should be happy to sacrifice time into building an asset that we have ownership over. There's no selling involved. Any star salesman here this morning? Anyone that loves selling? Anyone that loves selling milkshakes on the weekends? Right? Who wants to sell stuff on the weekends to friends? I cannot imagine wanting to do that. There's no selling involved in this business. The only thing you're going to be telling other people about is about financial opportunity. It is probably the number one, the most attractive commodity in South Africa at the moment is opportunity, especially in our economy today. And that's all you're going to be telling people, right? We're not doing any selling. You don't talk about our products. The nature of our products, however, are great because they're financial in nature. It means they're not tangible products. Like I said, there's no boxes of product you have to buy. You don't have to bring a bucky today to load up vitamins and milkshakes, right? They don't expire. They don't take up space at home. And so we make the products as convenient as possible. But your success in this business is predicated on your ability to build a channel of distribution. So I told you I'm going to show you what it looks like. It begins with you. You become a wealth engineer, right? And you're going to go out, and it's my hope that you will go and hunt down resourceful people that you think would thrive in a business like this, right? People at your peer level, people that you can relate to and that you can depend on. And if you go out and you're successful in finding some people that are exposed to this opportunity, like you are now, and they decide they want to become wealth engineers, they want to change their circumstance, they will go out and do the same thing that you're doing. Because in their own respect, they want to build their own channels of distribution. But what they're doing is, in turn, they're building your channel of distribution, right? This is where we've built the leverage, the power duplication. Because after an amount of time, this is what your channel could look like. And let me tell you, we've got a graphing application that paints channels that look like this. This is what channels typically look like. They grow sporadically, right? After 2 years, it would probably be about 10 times the size of this, if we look at the channels. So tonight, at our awards evening, Tim is going to be showing some of the channels that have been built over the last 2 years. That's what it can look like. Every dot represents a person that has become a wealth engineer and taken out one of our products. And you are potentially earning with every single dot that you see on the screen. This is where the recurring income becomes so powerful, right? Because how much effort did it take to bring 5 people into the business? And there are numerous stories of wealth engineers that join the business, bring in 4 or 5 people, and suddenly their channels are 200 people, and they're being paid off of every one of those people that have joined their channel. Leverage. We have to leverage ourselves. After 15 years, I left my business because we couldn't create recurring income. I realized my father's words rang true in my head. He said, make money while you're sleeping, otherwise you're going to work until you die. And I realized I'm going to be working behind a computer until I died, because I had to chase income every single month. Next 20 years, I'm 40 now, the next 20 years I'm investing in business that creates recurring income. So that's what a channel of distribution looks like. I'll warn you now. So this is our warning slide, our disclaimer slide. People arrive at a presentation like this, they probably might never have heard of DuePoint, and there might be some fear that it's a scheme, right? Anyone been involved in a scheme? Yes? I got exposed to one in my 20s. I remember it distinctly. A friend of mine came to me and said, dude, you're going to make money. Just put 5,000 Rand here, and next week you bring me another 4 people and I'll give you 15,000 Rand. I was like, then that's money for free. Right? And then I spoke to a couple of people and they said, that's called a pyramid scheme. Right? We're not one of those schemes. We're a 70-year-old insurance business that we're regulated by the Financial Services Board with very reputable individuals involved in this business. This is an authentic business opportunity. So I hope I've allayed that fear for you. At the same time, Brendan and myself will never promise anybody success quickly in this business. Even if you think you're being successful quickly, that's just early improvement, should I say. To build true success is when you're in a position that this asset, this channel of distribution, is paying you out. My hope is that that wealth engineers will be in a position where they can resign from their jobs and then take 3 months holiday with their families and know that DuePoint's going to be paying them every single month while they're on holiday, with their toes in the sand and the kids running around without a worry in the world. What prospect do we have in employment to ever get to that position? Maybe if you're between jobs, when you've been retrenched and you haven't found a new job, then you can go maybe to the Vol Dam and sit there and pretend it's a holiday. Right? So that's the desire we have for wealth engineers in this business, is that you'd get to that position. But you have to work for it, right? So you might be thinking, why on earth does he have a picture of ballerina's feet up on the screen? Because we romanticize the notion of entrepreneurship. Anyone got successful entrepreneur friends? I got a very successful entrepreneur friend. He barely passed matric at school, right? So when we got out of school, he was the one that we thought would be the one that would be the least performing individual after school. He scraped through school. And he bandied around in banking. He was a teller, and then he became a personal banker. And then suddenly he got involved in networking, right? You know networking, where they plug your computers and the networking. Started getting involved in that. And the company that he's working for liquidated. And him and a friend decided to buy that little division. He's my age. Saw him at gym yesterday. He's buying his 4th Porsche. His 4th one. And I look at him and I think, he's been lucky. He must have gotten lucky. Right? This was a guy that only got through school. We romanticize the notion of entrepreneurship. We look at a successful entrepreneur, or driving the fancy car, pretty wife, pretty husband, the pretty dog, the pretty house. Right? We think they're lucky. How did they get there? Because we never see the hard work that goes into it. We don't see it. We don't see the late nights that they work, the frustration, the stress that they have. We don't see it. Don't fall into the trap of romanticizing entrepreneurship, because you're sitting in a room where we're asking you to be entrepreneurial. At the same time, I'm going to be asking you to sacrifice, to work hard, to do the business when you don't feel like it, to stay committed through the frustration. Only then is there a promise of success. right? So this is our disclaimer slide. You've all been warned. Okay. So how do you earn in this business? Let's go on to how you earn. There are two ways to earn in our business. One is through the returns program. The second way is through the rewards program. So the returns program, which we're going to discuss now, is the ability to make recurring income. This is what we pay our wealth engineers at the end of every single month, right? So we pay a base return fee of R27.50 for every product that you have in your channel. So that's where it starts. But it depends on where the product lies in relation to you. So remember the first 5 individuals you introduced to the business. In relation to you, they are on your first point, right? We call that point 1. And on point 1, according to the table, you can see we actually pay you double the R27.50. We pay you R55 for every product every single month going forward, right? And then those people go out and they find other people to join your channel. That product, those people lie on your second point. See, they're 2 points away from you. And on your second point, again, you earn R55 every month for every product. Point 3, the multiplier drops back down to 100%. Point 4, and you see all the way down to point 8, it drops to 4%. From the 8th point onwards into infinity, you will keep earning that 4%. We don't limit you on how much money you can earn in this business. We don't limit you on how big your channel can get. We've got wealth engineers in 2 years already on point 30. Point 30. That's why I said, that diagram that showed the channel distribution, I said that little example looks small compared to the channels we have today. Right? They've already built up to 30 points, and they can potentially earn all the way up to point 30 into infinity. We don't limit them on the size of your channel. The only limitation is yourselves, because you get to decide what you're going to be doing every day and how big you want to build your channel. Right? So this is the mechanics of the returns. The question typically we get after that is, well, how much money can people earn in this business? Give me an idea of what kind of money we're talking about. Okay, so we built a projection. So this is purely academic. It's an example. It's a theory. We've built a projection over the next 5 years. So picture yourself in the next 60 months. You become a wealth engineer, and it is based on a premise, a growth formula. So the growth formula that it assumes that you can build at is something we call 3 + 2. It assumes in your first month you can add 3 people onto your first point, and then every consecutive month thereafter you only have to bring in 2, right? So it's 3 in February, and then 2 in March, 2 in April, 2 in May, 2 in June. You're going to keep bringing 2 people into the business every month. So we call it the 3 + 2 growth formula. If you can follow this growth formula, you can expect to earn R2,500 after 6 months of work. My favorite example, because I look at the faces, a sea of disappointment. Right? 6 months of work and he's offering R2,500. This is a con job. Right? Is that what you're thinking? Who thinks R2,500 is worth 6 months of work? At least no one's lying to me. I had the same reaction, so don't feel bad. Right? Because the accountants came up with the example. They built the whole projection. They said, here it is. Got actuaries to look at it. Here's the growth. I said R2,500 after 6 months. No one's going to join this business. But what I started to realize, and the number will get bigger, but what I started to realize during this process of explaining this growth model is that people have a misinterpretation of the value of money. Right? And it's something that I saw in myself. We consider money and the value of money like consumers. So think about that. If I say R2,500, if I had R2,500 here in my pocket, you give it consumer value, right? Who looks at the R2,500 and goes, oh great, I can buy groceries this week, or oh great, I can pay my kids' school fees this month. That's how you see money, right? But how do you think someone like an entrepreneur, someone who's trying to build wealth, someone who's trying to build recurring income, if they look at the R2,500, do they go, how do I spend that? Or how can I use it to make more? I'm going to show you how you use it to make more. Because you can turn your nose up at R2,500 very easily. But if you take it and you decide to pay your debt off. So here we have an example of someone with R1 million debt. They've got R1 million bond, right? We all know how a bond works. I'm 40, I go out, I find a nice townhouse, I'm getting enough salary, I've got a good credit record. The bank agrees to give me the R1 million to buy the house. But they say, no, you're going to pay us back. And they say, according to everything, you're going to pay us prime plus 2, for example. And on R1 million, I've got to pay back the bank 11,500 rand a month at the current interest rates for the next 20 years. So at the age of 60, I'll make my final installment. I'll become a homeowner for the first time at the age of 60, as I'm pushed out the business for retirement, right? But I joined DuePoint at the age of 40, and 6 months later, with some success, I'm earning 2,500 rand. And I listened to Rob and decided to pay my debt off instead of spend the money, because I could spend the money easily. So I decided to put it as an additional payment into my bond. So now I'm not paying 11,500, I'm paying 14,000 rand into my bond. What's the net effect of that? Do you think there's benefit to paying your debt off faster? Let me show you the benefit. You'll pay that house off in 11 and a half years instead of 20. I'll become a homeowner at the age of 51. Do you know how much money that saves me in interest that I would have paid to the bank? Nearly 1 million rand. Anyone seen any banks going out of business lately? There's reason for that. They're on the right side of compound interest. We're on the wrong side of compound interest. Our first aspiration is to get rid of debt, which means get to the right side of compound interest. Let it work for you. It affords me, now I've got 14,000 rand a month that I don't have to pay to the bank from the age of 51. I can now contribute that into a retirement fund for the next 8.5 years. But at 12 months, I'm already at 9,000 rand a month. That's in excess of 100,000 rand in recurring income annually. Who got a 100,000 rand bonus check for this Christmas? No one? It's 12 months away. And we're just getting started. 24 months, you had nearly 30,000 a month. Think about how many items you can tick off your cost of living every month with an extra 30,000 rand a month. At 36 months, we're nearly at 50,000 rand a month. You want to look at a bond example again? At the 30-month mark, you're earning about 36,000 rand. You put 36,000 rand into a 5 million rand bond, you'll pay that house off in less than 7 years. Isn't that exciting? Right? 5 million rand house, paid off at the age of 47. But then I've got that friend who's driving a Porsche. Maybe I should rather buy a Porsche with the money, right? Buy another Porsche. Then he can also go, look, oh, Rob's successful too. No one can see you successful if you're putting extra money into your bond. Do you see the decisions we have to make constantly, right? There's certainly pull. There's this pull to look good, look successful. But if I can pay that house off at the age of 47, and now empowers me to start creating real wealth, and I buy a second house because I want to invest in property. So I buy a second house, I pay that off at the age of 54. I buy a third house, I pay that off at the age of 61. Now when I'm retired at 60, 61, I'm getting no more salary from my employer, but I own 3 houses. I live in the one that's paid off, and I'm renting the other 2 out for 60, 70,000 rand a month. What would DuePoint be paying me after 21 years? That's the retirement I envision for people in this business. Imagine getting there 20 years' time, right? That's the retirement we want. We don't want to be the 97% that are suddenly having to ask our kids for money, for our family for support. We can live on a government grant. What's the government grant at the moment? Can't live on that, right? Okay. But we keep going because we only had month 36. 48, you're nearly 70,000 rand a month. After 5 years, 60 short months away, you've created for yourself about 1 million rand in annual recurring income. How about a 1 million rand check for Christmas every year? I bet the majority of you guys don't even believe you can get there. I'm looking at your faces. I lost you at about 30,000 rand a month. I lost you. You don't even believe that you are capable of it. You don't believe it. This evening at our awards evening, it's the exact topic I'm talking about. How our minds and our brains limit us based on what we think we're capable of. Don't limit yourself, right? Start at the 2,500 rand. Just start there and keep going because it gets to 100,000 rand a month. That's the road you're going to be on. But this is all academic, so you can say, oh, Rob, that's just the example the accountants put up. It is just an example, based on 3 plus 2. One person every 2 weeks. How onerous is that? You can do less than that. I call them the 0 plus 0 club. They get excited, they join the business, and then they don't do anything. It's one of the mysteries of the world, I think, right? I'm not going to solve it. But you can certainly do more than 3 plus 2, because 3 plus 2 is just an example. If you want more out of this business, if 2,500 rand after 6 months is not enough for you, guess who decides to do more? Not me. You get to decide that. And we've got wealth engineers that have been in this business for 2 years. We've got wealth engineers that have been in for a shorter amount of time. Some have shown quick success in the business. I use the word loosely, success. And we invite them up onto stage every single month to share their testimonies with us. I want them to tell you their stories. And everyone has got a unique story, right? So here we've got Mike and Vilna. They joined on the 6th of February. So this was the day we launched the business. They were invited to our launch event. And they are now sitting at the value of their channel in middle of January. We're sitting at almost 10,000 rand a month. Now, we all turned our noses up at 2,500 rand after 6 months, right? They're at 10,000 rand after 2 years. If they followed 3 plus 2, they should be sitting at 27,000 rand, right? Why haven't they given up? Surely it's not worth their time. If I said to you 10,000 rand after 2 years of work, who would still be hanging around? You'd be talking to your friend. Do you think we can leave? You think he'll notice if we leave now? But again, I'm going to give you a lesson to the value of money. Because I know, because of the statistics that we get, that the majority of us are not going to do enough for our retirements. Right? So Mike and Vilna have created 10,000 rand a month in recurring income. How much money do you have to have in your retirement fund? So in your bank account, by the time you get to retirement, so that that investment can pay you out 10,000 rand a month in interest. Because this is the question you're going to ask yourself. If you don't know the answer to this question, you don't know what your retirement looks like. How much money do you need for 10,000 rand interest a month in your bank account? 2 million rand. Who's saving towards 2 million rand currently? You need to be saving at least 1,600 rand a month for 40 years to get to 2 million rand. Who's doing that at the moment? We need to change our perception of the value of money. Right? That's why Mike and Vilna haven't given up. He's a financial advisor. He understands the value of money. 10,000 rand a month in recurring income has massive value. It's like having 2 million rand sitting in a bank account. We got Spongile. Where's Spongile? There we go. Now, I love this lady because her testimony was all in Zulu, and I was determined that I had understood at least half of it, right? Purely by the reaction from the audience. So she's been in the business for a year. The value of her channel in the middle of January was nearly 13,000 a month. She said you can prospect anyway. She prospects at weddings and funerals. Right? Because that's where she gets to meet a lot of the people. Rena and Malcolm have been involved in the business also from day one. So on the 6th of February, they too became wealth engineers. They are extremely experienced in networking. I think there's very few people that have as much experience as they have. Rena got into network marketing businesses when they were transferred to one of the mines outside Cartonville, a tiny little mining village, and some lady came past her, I think, trying to sell Tupperware. And she said, I don't have any money for Tupperware. And the lady said, well, would you be interested in making money? And that's how she got involved in network marketing, right? In the Tupperware business. And she says she's been part of perhaps 100 different network marketing businesses. And she was not interested in DuePoint in the beginning because she had been through all these businesses, and she said, it takes too much time. And after about, I'd like to say after a year, but it took us almost 2 years to convince her. She stayed in the business, and her income started getting bigger and bigger, and she was doing the business in the background because she could. The amount of money that we've invested in technology allows her to work less. The leverage allows her to work less. The value of her channel is nearly 30,000 a month for a woman who has worked a lot less than she has in any other business. And that's why she loves the business, right? So we've got thousands of wealth engineers joining this business every single month. Everyone's running their own race. I love to picture this business as a race, right? Comrades Marathon. Everyone's running at their own pace. Decide what your pace is that you can run at. Don't look at your neighbor and go, that's what I want. Right? That's a mistake. Decide what you want from the business and run your own race. Go out there and make this additional recurring income that can empower you, that can change your future. So this is our returns program, the power of making recurring income. I told you there was a second way to earn, that's through our XP rewards program. So this is kind of like an incentive program for you guys, right? You get to enjoy rewards as you succeed in this business. So it works like this. You become a wealth engineer, and when you start engaging in typical wealth engineer behavior, so there's a whole bunch of activities you can do. If you come to presentations like this, we give you something called experience points, XP. XP. If you bring guests with you, you get more XP. If you do presentations at home, you get XP. If you watch our training, you get XP. If you log into the mobile app, you get XP. So you get XP for all this stuff, wealth engineer behavior. And as you start collecting more XP and your channel starts to grow, you get rewarded along the way. So if you become a wealth engineer this morning, you'll start out as a rank 0 wealth engineer, right? Can you see you're not on the slide? You're still part of the 0 plus 0 club. That's not good, right? But to get to rank 1 is fairly easy because you only need 1,000 XP. You need 4 products in your qualified channel, right? And when you become rank 1, we give you a 55 Rand reward. Just once off, not recurring income. It's just a once off 55 Rand that month that you became rank 1. And I say, go out, buy cake, and celebrate. Because if you can get to rank 1, you can get to rank 20. Because the behavior, the activity is exactly the same. The rank 1s are doing the same thing the rank 20s are doing, right? So get excited about the 55 Rand. But the rewards get bigger. So as you start collecting more XP and your channel starts to grow in size, there's a 20,000 Rand check waiting for you, a 50,000 Rand check. We give tools to our wealth engineers that help them build their channels more effectively. Here's Patrick and Pumi at rank 5. We gave them this little USB stick, fancy little stick. It's USB 3, I think it's 64 gigs or 128 gigs. But the beauty is we've got all our video collateral on that stick. Right? Tons of our videos on there. And that little stick can plug into any device. You can see it's got two sides. It can plug into cell phones, laptops, tablets, Android, Apple, bananas, all of it. So Patrick and Pumi aren't limited by the device they have around them. They can show anyone the DuePoint opportunity. At rank 7, we get these premium business cards manufactured. To get one set of cards, you get 1,000 cards. To get one set of cards manufactured costs us just over 20,000 Rand. So we try to print them in pairs. So if you become rank 7, you've got to become rank 7 with a friend, right? Because I can't do one card. It costs too much. So we get 2 cards manufactured at the same time, 12,500 Rand a set. Why would we spend so much money on business cards? Because when you go out and prospect and you say to someone, I've got a wonderful business opportunity for you, it's with a company called DuePoint. I said, I've never heard of DuePoint before. Oh, well, it's with Constantia. I've never heard of Constantia either. Constantia only deals with other financial service providers. They've never dealt with consumers. So now your credibility is lying on the floor still, right? But you pull out a 12,500 Rand business card, which has got no ink on it. The edges are gilded in gold like they did the Bibles in the old days. The logo is foiled in gold. It's 4 times thicker than any other card. Look at them. They're like a brick. Look how thick the cards are. On a recycled black paper that feels like suede. Your card costs about 50 times more than the other person. Doesn't matter who you're speaking to. You could go speak to someone that works at Anglo American. Your business card costs 50 times more than the person from Anglo American. Now who's suddenly got the upper hand in credibility? Right? That person's going to say, how do you get a card like that? What's this business DuePoint? It affords you a few more minutes to explain what this business is all about. These are tools for you. At rank 9, very exciting. This is a recurring reward. So this means that you get to enjoy this reward every single year. It's not a once-off. Every single year, our rank 9s and above come with us to our international conference. It's 7 days away at a 5-star luxury resort, all expenses paid, business class flights, not only you, but you and your family. Every year. So we had our first one this December. First time. The wealth engineers were wondering, I wonder what this trip's going to be all about. They've been saying it's very fancy. Right? We've got a couple of wealth engineers here that attended. You might recognize them in the video I'm going to show you now. People get very excited about this. But I remind you, this is just the beginning. If you can get to this position in 1 year, 2 years, there's a lot more waiting for you. So take a look what we got up to last month.
All of your wind has gone, and all of the path you've drawn have sunk to the ocean sun where no one can see. You stand, don't let the dark embrace, cower the dreams you chase under the rust and blood. Don't let yourself give up.
Seems pretty good, right? You've got 10 months to get to our trip in December this year. Half the wealth engineers got there in less than a year to rank 9. One individual got to rank 9 in 5 months. He saw the presentation one day, 5 months later he's ranked 9. So you certainly have the ability, right? It's just your decision. How quickly do you want to get there? We don't reset you to 0 at the end of the year. If you don't make it this year, you've got next year to make it. At rank 11, we spend R250,000 buying our wealth engineers a brand new car. No T's and C's. You don't have to carpool with the other rank 11 wealth engineer. You don't ask for the car back after 6 months. The car is yours. We buy it cash in your name and give it to you. So this is what our rewards program looks like. We're at rank 11. It goes up to rank 28. What happens at rank 28? Someone said you go to heaven. That was my favorite. It's my favorite call out. You go to heaven. And they said, but you come back. You just go have a look around, right? And before that, the one person said, you get a new husband. Right, that's the prospect. That's on offer for you. So that's our XP Rewards program. And we've got a third benefit for our wealth engineers. So this is one that's a little shorter term. We call it a wealth quest, that little WQ you see in the bottom, the top left corner there. It is a challenge that we issue to our wealth engineers every month. It runs from the first day of the month to the last day of the month. And February's wealth quest is called the Triple Lightning Qualifier, where we challenge you to bring 3 new wealth engineers onto your first point. And you have to support them that they become qualified in their own right. That means they've got to find 3 people each too. So in total, you'll have, what's that, 12. 12 people in your channel in the month of February. If you can do that, at the end of February, you can choose between an iPhone, an iPad, or a 49-inch LED smart TV plus 3,000 XP. That's on offer while you build your business, right? So that's February's Wealth Quest. Like I said, a new one every single month. We'd ask the question, how does DuePoint afford all of this? Basically, our business model is this. Traditional insurance companies spend a lot of money on marketing and advertising. PMD up the road here does hundreds of thousands of rands a day in advertising, right? That's their lifeblood. So the only way they acquire new clients. At DuePoint, we don't do any advertising. We don't spend a cent on advertising. You won't see a DuePoint logo outside of our building. Why? Because we can rely on you, on our wealth engineers, to go out and spread the word about DuePoint. And so we don't have to spend the billions that the insurance industry spends every single year on marketing and advertising. We can take that portion of our budget and attribute it to the returns and the rewards program for your benefit. And that's basically how our business model works. It's really just a shift of budget and a different marketing channel that we employ. Right? Very straightforward. We've got 3 products at DuePoint. You're free to consider 1, 2, or 3 products, so it's completely up to you. The benefits are all financial in nature. Our first product is called Access Wealth. It is an investment product, right? 324 Rand a month, of which 100 Rand will get invested into a tax-free investment fund that sits with Sanlam. And it is a no-notice investment. So it means you don't have to give us 30 days notice to draw the money out. You draw the money out, it's immediate. It takes about 72 hours to process the transaction. And then on top of that, we give you a little bit of insurance with this investment product to the value of 120,000 Rand in personal accident cover. So if you die by way of any accident, we pay that out to your beneficiaries. So this is our investment product, Access Wealth, right? The first product. The second product is called Wealth Guard. This is purely an insurance product. So there's no investment on here. It's just insurance. It's 299 Rand a month, but this time you get 1.2 million Rands worth of personal accident cover, right? The beauty of personal accident cover. Notice that I did not say funeral cover. I did not say life insurance. Those products pay you out in the event of dying through illness and natural causes. This product doesn't. It pays you out in the event of accident. Why is that such a good thing? Because we can offer this product to anybody. Anyone over the age of 18. You can be diabetic, you can have cancer, you can have heart issues, you can be 60, 70, 80 years old. I can offer this product to any of those people. The premium remains the same and the amount of cover you receive remains the same. Try get life insurance when you're 60 and diabetic. I dare you. Right? That's the beauty of personal accident cover. It becomes accessible to everybody. So that's Wealth Guard, the insurance product. Wealth Points. Wealth Points aims to save us money on the money we're spending every month anyway. So if you look at the list of suppliers there, I bet you spend money with at least one of those suppliers. Right? So for 299 Rand a month, you get to enjoy the discounts that we've negotiated with these partners. So we've got data partners, we've got grocery, we've got retail, we've got car manufacturers, the beauty industry is involved there. Right? We are adding partners to this product all the time. So for example, Always On data, you go buy a gig of data from Always On, it costs you 100 Rand typically. But if you're a Wealth Points member, you get it for 37 Rand. Right? You see the discounts there? So go take a look. There's more information on the website around all the products. We've got videos on YouTube that are in-depth analyses of the products. So go take a look at those. Otherwise, come speak to me. If you have any questions around the products, I'll gladly answer them after the presentation. So what is the decision? Very simply for me, I like to sum it up in who has the tenacity, who's got the chip on their shoulder to partake in entrepreneurship to enjoy the benefits of it. Have you got it in you? Maybe 30% of us. Maybe, right? It takes something. There's something about people, entrepreneurial people, a little bit funny in the head maybe. Right? Because you have to be tenacious. I've constantly engaged with people about business consulting and management. All the time. Always interested in people, what they understand. Why are some people successful and some people aren't? And some people reckon you need to have a chip on your shoulder. Right? You have to want it that bad to prove everyone else wrong, to prove yourself right, to believe beyond your capability, to believe beyond your circumstance. That's the decision we're making. Because every morning you're going to be making a decision, am I doing DuePoint today or not? And you saw what's on offer. In 2 years, the lives that have been changed in this business gives me the absolute most pleasure to see people in this business thriving in the space of 2 years. I get giddy with excitement to think where these individuals are going to be in 10 years' time or 20 years' time. When I see young people getting engaged in the business, I get super excited because I reflect on my own life. 20 years of faffing around, trying to get businesses up and running, struggling, Oh, if I'd gotten involved and focused on a business that creates recurring income in my early 20s, oh my goodness, my life would be so different, right? So the decision is yours. Consider reading our code of conduct. It is our contract with you that defines what you can and cannot do as a wealth engineer, so that's fairly important. Registering as a wealth engineer is very easy. You can do it on our website or on the mobile app that the person who invited you here will have on their phones. It takes about 7 minutes to go through the app, and then the work starts, right? Watch our training. Like I said, we've done everything to support you. We've created training videos to make you as effective as possible in this business. Go watch the training. Set goals for yourself. Again, another underestimated task that people just don't seem to take very seriously. I don't know why people do it. I think people are intimidated by setting goals. Are you setting yourself up for disappointment if you set up a goal? Right? Are you so scared that you won't reach there that you just decide not to set the goal in the first place? Because the goal is the first step in preparing a plan. You can't prepare a plan and a strategy to become successful if you don't have a goal. So those two go hand in hand. And then the basic activity of just speaking to people. One of our wealth engineers that came onto stage, he summed it up perfectly. He said, this is one of the most easiest, simplest businesses I've ever been involved in. But if you're not talking to somebody every day, you're not doing the business. As simple as that, right? We've got merchandise. Please consider getting business cards. This, for me, is foremost. It comes with business. You cannot have business cards, or you cannot not have a business without business cards, right? I cannot imagine someone tearing a piece of paper off the corner and saying, I'm going to write my phone number here for you. You phone me later. There's a great business opportunity that I have for you. You're going to be like, in the bin. Right? Get business cards. They are much cheaper than the black business cards. I'll pay for the expensive cards. You pay for the cheaper white ones. Right? Don't discriminate. We've got other merchandise. All our videos on these USB sticks if you don't want to use data. We've got the pins. Those pins represent people that are earning money in our business. You can't buy one of those pins unless you rank 1 or above. So now, make sure if you ask advice from somebody, they've got a pin on their lapel. The bigger and the more colorful the pin, the more they know. Right? That's just a tip. Then we've got the power bank. You don't ever want your phone to die because that's a primary business tool. Everything else, it's on display in the merchandise cabinet. Pricing's on the counter. Credit card machine's been warmed up for you. All right? Download or subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's a wealth of knowledge on our YouTube channel. We have been engaged constantly in creating content for our wealth engineers that you guys can go watch, right? So much knowledge waiting there for you. I don't know why that thing keeps jumping up on the slide. Download the mobile app. So the mobile app is your tool of business. That's all you need in this business, is that mobile app. You need a smartphone to download the mobile app, right? It runs on Apple and Android devices. That app will tell you whether you're making money while you're sleeping. Because the app reflects in real time what's going on in your business. You will have 5 people on your first point that you know, but there might be 200 people sitting in your channel beneath those 5 people. And that app will tell you exactly how big that channel is getting on a daily basis. You will see people joining the business between midnight and 6 o'clock in the morning. When I come into the office and I pull up the report, there are people that join between midnight and 6 o'clock in the morning. Do these people not sleep? Who's talking business at those times? People do. And that app will tell you that you just made money while you were sleeping. Right? So download the app, take a profile photo because you get 1,000 XP the moment you take a photo. There are so many people that haven't done this yet. That's free XP, 1,000 XP. How much XP do you need for rank 1? 1,000, right? It's right there. Okay. Some don'ts that I want to highlight in our code of conduct. This business is targeted very much at a segment of population that we think have the resources to thrive in our business. We've made the business as risk-free as possible, right? So there's no box of products. We're not asking you to put in your retirement savings or anything like that, right? But if you can't afford to become a wealth engineer, if you can't afford one of our products, this business is probably not for you. We don't want to burden the burdened, right? We want to impact a segment of the economy that can then go impact the rest of the economy, right? It starts there. If you can't afford internet or data, or if you don't have access to the internet or data, you're going to struggle in our business. If you don't have access to transport, you're going to struggle in this business. These are things to consider for yourself and for when you're going out and prospecting people, right? Don't ever complete DuePoint application forms on behalf of somebody else. This is illegal. It is fraudulent. Black and white fraudulent. You can go to jail for filling out an application form on behalf of somebody else. Because that application form is a contract. You have to click the check boxes that say, yes, I agree to the investment mandate. Yes, I agree to the debit order authority. Yes, I agree to become a wealth engineer. Yes, I agree to the code of conduct. You can't do that for somebody else. You've got to do that for yourself. Okay? Don't add direct family members that live with you in your household into your channel. We call it an anti-stacking rule. If you've got family members that don't live with you, they can be in your channel. If they live with you, they can't be in your channel. If they don't live with you, they can be in your channel. If they live with you, they can't be in your channel. Black and white rule, very easy to understand. But people seem to be most worried about this rule. I've yet to find a family that are now all working for each other. Okay, so don't start your own DuePoint Facebook page. This again is breaking FSB regulation. We get into big trouble for people that go out and talk about DuePoint, try advertise us on Facebook. They start up groups, they start up pages called DuePoint International. I didn't know we went international yet. Supposedly we're international. DuePoint Johannesburg, DuePoint Roodepoort. We suspend you immediately, right? So we've got software that tells us immediately that these pages have been created. We suspend you, and we don't even bother telling you. Because there are too many of you doing it. And then you find out when you try to add someone into your business, it comes up with a notice. Sorry, you've been suspended. And then you phone client service in a panic. I've been suspended. Why? Because you didn't read your code of conduct and you've been doing stuff on Facebook and on Twitter that you're not allowed to do. And then you have to take all of that stuff down. You've got to prove to us that you've taken it down, and then only do we unsuspend you. So don't do it in the first place. Don't send lead wealth engineers to DuePoint unattended. This speaks to the professionalism that you have to have in this business. You have to treat every prospect with respect and dignity. You don't know who you're bringing into your business, right? You could be bringing a superstar into your business. Don't send them to head office and say, just ask for Rob or Brendan. They'll take care of you. I'll speak to you on Facebook later. That's what people do. That's why we have to put the line in, right? Treat every prospect the same professionally. Guys, thank you for your time this morning. I remind you, again, there's only one person that can design their destinies. One. It's the same person that gets up in the morning, looks at that pretty face in the mirror, and decides what they're doing today, every day. So I invite you to have a fantastic 2018. I would love to see more of you. I'd love to see even more of you joining me on the business class flight to Mauritius in December. All right? So if you have any questions, come speak to me. Have a wonderful weekend, and maybe I'll see you soon. Ciao.